Bobby Lashley is an American professional wrestler and mixed martial artist. He is currently signed to WWE, where he performs on the Raw brand. Lashley began his career as a professional wrestler in 2004, training at the WCW Power Plant before debuting for World Wrestling Entertainment in 2005. During his time in WWE, he was a two-time ECW World Champion. In addition to his wrestling and MMA careers, Lashley is also a former U.S. Army Sergeant, and he has been involved in various philanthropic endeavors throughout his career, including working with organizations that support veterans and children. What was the reason behind Lashley's exit from Total Nonstop Action in 2010? First up, why did TNA relieve Lashley from the brand in 2010? Eric Bischoff, a former backstage figure in TNA, stated that Bobby Lashley's TNA run was so brief due to his girlfriend's involvement. On a recent episode of his podcast, Bischoff explained that while Lashley was a pleasure to work with, his partner Crystal Marshall caused tension and ultimately got in the way of Lashley's career. Bischoff added that he was voted to be the one to tell Lashley he was being fired, and that the decision was not made due to Lashley's actions, but due to Marshall's negative impact. Eric Bischoff mentioned Bobby Lashley's ease of dealing backstage on a recent episode of his 83 Weeks podcast, going so far as to compare working with Lashley to working with butter. Lashley's girlfriend, Crystal Marshall, was the opposite of him. Crystal was not so easy to work with. Eventually, she became a distraction to Bobby's professional life, not that it affected his job much. In TNA, I was the one to fire Bobby Lashley. Getting rid of him wasn't my call. I was just picked to break the news to him. It was all her fault, not Bobby's. Who knows, maybe it wasn't Dixie at all. No one else except Dixie would have done it. The task of delivering the unfortunate news of termination fell to me, even though it was not my decision to let Bobby go. It seemed that no one else wanted to be the one to tell him. Despite this, Lashley has continued to excel in WWE. Recently, Marshall expressed interest in participating in the upcoming Women's Royal Rumble event in WWE. In the past, Marshall had played the role of Lashley's valet during their time in TNA between October 2009 and January 2010. The two, romantically involved in real life during this time, decided to leave the company in February 2010 after it was determined that their on-screen partnership was no longer necessary. It is worth mentioning that Lashley and Marshall have had two children, Miles and Naomi, together, and they dated between 2007 and 2010. Next up, what did Eric Bischoff tell Bobby Lashley right before firing him? Eric Bischoff discussed Bobby Lashley's release with him, but he ultimately had no say in whether or not the current WWE superstar would leave TNA. The former president of WCW was instructed to inform the public. As far as Lashley knew, Bischoff hid why he was let go. Instead, he told the MMA veteran that he would no longer be needed. What I wanted to say was, Bobby, the procedure is simply too burdensome with your beautiful wife, girlfriend, here involved, and we've made the conclusion that you'd be better off somewhere else. In his next words, Bischoff elaborated, honestly, I could have and probably should have done it. I just said, we're going to let you go. Lashley returned to TNA in 2014, holding the company's World Heavyweight title 4 times between then and 2018. The Almighty eventually went on to win back-to-back WWE World Heavyweight titles upon his comeback. Have you ever thought of Bobby Lashley and Crystal Marshall's on-screen pairing? Tell us in the comment section. Even though Bobby Lashley's second stint with WWE was his most successful, it was not without its share of down points. And now, the 5 greatest moments for Bobby Lashley in WWE since his comeback. When Bobby Lashley first joined WWE, it appeared that he was destined for great success as a future champion. However, despite a strong run at the top of the ECW brand, he ultimately failed to achieve the potential and eventually left the company. In 2018, Lashley returned to WWE, and since then, his experience has been a roller coaster of highs and lows. He has enjoyed moments of main event glory and championship success, but also has faced less than stellar feuds and segments. One of the highlights of his return has been his alliance with MVP and the Hurt Business. Bobby Lashley's tenure in WWE seemed floundering, particularly during his alliance with Lana. However, MVP masterfully intervened, skillfully convincing Lashley to join his side and take him on as his manager. This transition was expertly executed. It breathed new life into Lashley's character and made him an imposing force to be reckoned with. MVP's mic work elevated Lashley's status, portraying him as a formidable threat. With Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, MVP formed the Hurt Business, a faction that dominated Raw throughout 2020 and became one of the brand's highlights. One of Bobby Lashley's best career moves in WWE was his most recent heel turn. While he had initially gained popularity as a heel and had a successful run as one, he turned face in 2022, but his run as a face was met with a mixed reception. His feud with Omos and his United States Championship reign was poorly received. However, at Crown Jewel 2022, Lashley turned heel by attacking Brock Lesnar following their match. This was a shrewd move, and by making such a bold statement against a wrestler of Lesnar's caliber, Lashley instantly regained credibility and relevancy in the eyes of fans fans and management. So what are the other great moments of Bobby Lashley's comeback? At the 2022 Royal Rumble event, Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar faced off in a highly anticipated match. Many had expected Lesnar to come out on top, and he had recently won the WWE title. However, to the surprise of many, Lashley emerged victorious with the help of Roman Reigns. For Lashley, this was a dream match that had been years in the making. The victory over Lesnar, along with a new reign as WWE Champion, must have been a dream come true for him. The fourth greatest moment was when Bobby Lashley accomplished one of his greatest achievements by winning the WWE Championship. The opportunity came about when Drew McIntyre successfully defended his title in an Elimination Chamber match. Still, Drew was ambushed from behind by Lashley, allowing The Miz to cash in his Money in the Bank contract and claim the title for himself. Lashley had previously struck a deal with Miz, which promised him a title shot in return for his assistance. After some time had passed, Lashley was finally given a chance to face Miz for the championship. He performed a dominant performance, defeating Miz and capturing the WWE title for the first time in his career. Despite lacking a live audience, Lashley's emotional reaction spoke volumes about what this victory meant to him. Finally, the pinnacle of success is retaining the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. As the WWE Championship matches at WrestleMania 37 began, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre stood ready to take the stage in front of a live audience for the first time in over a year. The match was highly anticipated, and the energy in the arena was electric. When the dust settled, Lashley emerged victorious, solidifying his status as champion in a historic and unforgettable match. This triumph marked the fruition of his arduous journey for rebranding himself as a fierce and formidable competitor. Up next, the 5 worst moments of Bobby Lashley in his return to WWE. One of the lowest moments on Bobby Lashley's WWE return is losing the WWE Championship in a cash-in. During his tenure as WWE Champion, Bobby Lashley had established himself as a dominant force in the ring and had been presented as a formidable and respected champion. Fans expected him to eventually put over a rising babyface and pass on the title. However, the opportunity for a new champion was wasted when Big E cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase to defeat Lashley. While this move protected Lashley, it did not fully capitalize on the momentum he had built during his reign. It would have been more effective for WWE to have booked Big E to win the title legitimately and convincingly, which would have elevated his status and made the most of Lashley's strong run as champion. This cash-in was a missed opportunity for both Lashley and Big E. Second, an unfortunate decision Bobby Lashley made on his return was flaunting his glutes. Bobby Lashley's heel turn in 2018 when he teamed up with Lio Rush brought a refreshing dynamic to his character, but it also included a peculiar aspect. Lashley began incorporating a routine of striking poses that prominently showcased his glutes, while Rush would excite his physique in a comedic way. While it may have been intended as a lighthearted bit, this recurring behavior was odd and took away from Lashley's credibility as a performer and potential champion. It didn't help to add to his character, but rather detracted from it, and it was not a good move for Lashley's reputation as a wrestler. Third, Bobby Lashley graced the WWE Universe with a shocking return on the night following WrestleMania 34, where he delivered a powerful message by taking out Elias and announcing his comeback. Given his 10-year absence, it was likely that many fans were not familiar with him. WWE decided to conduct a sit-down interview with Lashley to introduce him back to the audience. However, the interview ended up being a cringeworthy experience as Lashley recounted an odd tale about being restrained by his sisters while maintaining an unsettling grin toward the camera. This unfortunate start to his comeback fell short of expectations. So what are the biggest mistakes of Lashley's comeback in WWE? The fourth worst part of Bobby Lashley's career has been his relationship with Lana on an episode of Monday Night Raw in 2019, immediately following Rusev's comeback on TV. During the episode, Lashley emerged with Lana engaged in a highly publicized kiss on stage. This unexpected and controversial moment set the tone for months of unbearable television. The storyline involving Lashley and Lana featured distasteful makeout sessions, a rushed wedding, and many uncomfortable moments. This unfortunate plotline greatly impacted Lashley's character development and booking during this period and was not well received by the audience. Finally, one of the low points of Bobby Lashley's career was the Sisters segment involving Sami Zayn during Lashley's initial feud with Zayn upon returning to WWE. After the awkward interview, Zayn mocked Lashley by bringing out 3 men dressed as Lashley's sisters on Monday Night Raw. This segment was widely criticized as one of the worst in the show's history and was a perplexing choice to reintroduce Lashley to the WWE audience. It was not only a stupid and ill-advised move, but also deeply disrespectful and showed poor taste. Unfortunately, guys, that's all the time we have for today. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, cheers!